Hello, hello. Can everyone hear me? Fantastic. It's great to see all of you, some familiar faces, some new faces. But I'm really excited to talk to everyone today about how we can leverage dynamic machine learning to help secure our cloud environments. Before I dive into things, I think it's important for us to talk a bit about risk, right? As cybersecurity professionals, I think no matter the role or the position that you're in, cyber risk will always be a core part of what we do, right? No matter if we're talking about red teaming, vulnerability management, attack surface management, right? These are all parts of the same whole, right? They're all trying to achieve the same goal of addressing something that's a dynamic, ever-changing problem, right? Risk has never been the same. A lot of the methods that you guys see on screen here didn't exist 5, 10 years ago, right? It's always dynamic, always changing, always evolving. So by extension of that, the solutions that we use to address risk should also be just as dynamic, just as evolving with us. And that's exactly what Darktrace's approach is, right? Through dynamic machine learning, Darktrace's AI can dynamically adjust, learn, and adapt to any level of risk that you're experiencing within your organization. But it's not just us using AI, right? I'm sure you guys have seen the widespread adoption of ChatGPT. And it's interesting because we actually did some research and we've found that there's been a 130% increase in social engineered attacks, right? Undoubtedly due to the whole adoption of generative AI tools like ChatGPT, right? But again, it's not just confined to tools like that. You can leverage AI for pretty much any application that you can imagine. And our adversaries, our attackers that we're more or less dealing with every day, right, are constantly adapting and getting these tools into place. So how do we stay ahead? What does this mean for our security teams, right? How should we leverage AI and how can we leverage AI? At the core problem here, when we talk about AI and machine learning, is it boils down to data, right? No matter what tools our adversaries are using, everything boils down to what data is available. And who has the most data? You do. The organization will always have a leg up. We have home advantage, right? We have all the information related to our business. And I think that's the key takeaway here, where regardless of whether or not our adversaries are using AI, right, the fact that we own our data means that we always have advantage. And Darktrace, this is how we take advantage of our advantage, right? With the Cyber AI Loop, we're able to extend Darktrace's dynamic machine learning to all sorts of different product families, right? We could start with Darktrace Detect, where Darktrace is understanding and learning the different behaviors and adapting to how your environment changes, right? Into Respond, where Darktrace can not only detect, which is incredibly important, right? Visibility is a great thing to have, but I think preventing and stopping damage, stopping any sort of business disruption is key here. And that's exactly what Darktrace Respond can do. It's able to take that action on your behalf and stop anything from happening to your business. Obviously, active security is very important. But just as importantly, proactive security is important, right? One of the biggest things to address risk is having this proactive approach. And that's where Darktrace Prevent comes into play. Through our attack surface management, through our Darktrace end-to-end, we're able to help in hardening your business from the inside out, right? With our attack surface management. Now, talking about Darktrace end-to-end, we're actually able to look at the different ways an attacker can move through your environment without any sort of incident actually happening. So you don't have to wait for something malicious or something anomalous to happen in your environment, but Darktrace can help identify those different ways that attackers can progress within your environment without you having to go and intervene and having these things in advance. But the key thing that I want to highlight here is that all of these different product families, just like your business, right, is comprised of many different segments, right? And just like a business, those business segments don't act independently, right? When we talk about cloud, we talk about email, we talk about endpoint, all of these different facets of your environment have interplay with each other. And understanding that, Darktrace's product families also work together to be better, right? Insights from Detect fuel Respond. Insights from Prevent help detect, contextualize your business, and contextualize the different ways that your business, more or less the different risks that exist within your business. And taking that same approach, we're able to apply that to all of the coverage areas that you see below. Because like I said, right, your business has many different components, regardless of whether or not it's cloud, email, endpoint. Darktrace is able to help address risk in all of these places. One thing that I want to bring everyone's attention to is Darktrace Heal. So that's a product that we have coming out, I would say fairly soon. Don't quote me on that. But again, taking this idea of understanding self and understanding you, Darktrace Heal aims to help and assist with restoring any sort of disruption that your business faces back to normal, right? So it's completing that loop. Now, changing gears a bit, right? Obviously, we're at a cloud conference. I have some exciting news about Darktrace's partnership with AWS. We are now a AWS security competency partner. In addition to that, Darktrace, I want to clarify, is a cloud-native solution. So regardless of what environment you guys are running, right, Darktrace does have a cloud-first thought and is cloud-native. So the way that we would interact with those environments, a lot of different deployment options, the two major ones being agent-based and agentless, right? Whenever you stay tunnel-visioned on one type of deployment option, you lose that flexibility, right? Where you're either dealing with the pitfalls of one over the other. So by combining both and having both together, it means that we're very flexible in covering all of the different parts of your cloud space, right? Just like when we talk about businesses and business components, that's very broad. Cloud is very broad too, right? Just in AWS, I'd say there are over 50 different services that you could leverage. So understanding that there are all sorts of different ways that we can deploy. And by extension of it, Darktrace, from the way that we deploy, we're able to learn, understand, and adapt to all of the AWS services that you guys are leveraging. And expanding that, right, pretty much any cloud that you're sitting in. And the key thing here, like I mentioned earlier, right, as important as the tech is, so is response, right? We don't want, any sort of incident evolving to actually impact the business and impact revenue, right? So through our integration with AWS Lambda, we're actually also able to take action on any of those anomalous events that occur within your AWS space, right? Now, I'm excited to give you guys a snapshot of what's to come. A lot of the discussion today has been around how Darktrace can learn services, can learn you. But taking a step back a bit, Darktrace, we're also able to understand and learn architecture, right? And it's taking all of the different services and things that comprise your environment, and it's creating that holistic view, which is incredibly important because you get a number of key insights from understanding architecture. It allows you to understand the different assets that live in your cloud space, right? If you're a business and you're expanding into the cloud, it might be harder to keep track of all of these things, right? And it makes sense, right? There's a lot going on and a lot of different components that might correspond to different business sectors. Understanding that, we're able to see all the assets within the environment. But in addition to that, we're able to map and understand the relationships between those resources. A lot of what I've been talking about today has been the interplay between, say, coverage areas, whether we're talking about cloud, and then the different ways that our Darktrace product families interplay together. But just as importantly, when we talk about resources within the cloud, those services communicate with each other, right? They link to each other. For example, an IAM role might have access to S3 Lambda in certain ways that a different IAM role might not. So understanding these relationships helps understand risk and what risk and where it lies within your AWS space. So I think this is really cool. This is what's to come. So I would definitely say watch out for that. But beyond this, just to recap, right? Darktrace's approach is all about understanding self. It's all about understanding what your environment looks like and where your business and your risks might be different from another business's or another organization, right? And because risk is always dynamic, it's always changing, right? Having that unique understanding, I think, is key to approaching cybersecurity as a whole, right? Darktrace's approach, again, takes that dynamic machine learning, right? And through our AIs, learns the organization to then deal with a lot of the problems that are presented when we talk about risk. Beyond that, don't just take my word for it, right? We have a lot of blog posts available that showcase the things that Darktrace has seen and Darktrace has stopped on our website. So if there's any particular use case you guys are interested in, I would highly recommend going through some of our blog posts. There's a lot of really interesting stuff, just like this, actually. Darktrace, we caught a wasted locker incident as it was unfolding, right? In this example, the customer we were working with was trialing Darktrace Respond, but the key thing here is Darktrace followed every step of the way for this incident, right? Every event from the initial foothold where Darktrace is understanding and looking at the behaviors for over 5,000 devices for this customer, right? And this is all unsupervised. You don't have to go and sit there and baby the tool just like anything else, right? And with Darktrace, after understanding and seeing this foothold, we were able to see the attack evolve, right, into reconnaissance just 11 minutes later. And finally, we see the threat actor here trying to actually access a resource with credentials, which is critical, right? That resource could be something that's critical to operating your business, generating revenue, and this is something key that I want to emphasize. And then finally, as you can see at the bottom, Darktrace Respond suggesting and recommending what it would have done in this situation, right? Where, like I said earlier, visibility is one thing, but stopping disruption is just as important, right? And here we can see if Darktrace Respond was active and not in recommendation mode, if it was fully active, it would have actually stopped this entire incident right from the first event. And this is all in real time, all at machine speed, without someone you have to sit there and, you don't have to have eyes on glass to actually have this happen. The AI is able to think and is able to understand that, hey, this is critical, we can stop this for you. In any case, I've done a lot of talking today. If anyone does have any questions, any thoughts about use case, I would highly recommend you guys visit our booth. I'll be there as well as my other technical counterparts, and we would be happy to have any sort of discussion that you guys would want to talk about. Thank you.